I want you to just try and visualize something for a second. Picture a stack of paper, standard printer paper. Now, keep stacking it. Go past your knees, past your head, past the ceiling. Keep going until that stack is taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Wow.
That is roughly what 3 million pages looks like.
And that's just the paper. I mean, we aren't even counting the 2,000 videos or the, 180,000 images that came with it.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we aren't just recounting history. We are swimming through a sea of fresh evidence. It's February 2026, and the Department of Justice has finally executed the massive data dump mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act of 2025.
It's a moment a lot of us thought would never actually happen. For years, the Epstein story was this murky mix of, tabloid headlines, conspiracy threads, partial leaks. But what we have now is raw data. It's the receipts.
And that is our mission today. We've been going through this for as much as is humanly possible since it dropped to answer that one question: how? How did a college dropout turn into this global power broker? And how did the American legal system basically become his bodyguard?
It's a heavy lift. And I want to set the tone right now. The truth we found in these files is actually more disturbing than the internet rumors.
How so?
Because the rumors suggest a kind of chaotic, cartoonish evil. The files, they show a systemic, organized, almost bureaucratic evil.
So let's start at the beginning. Because the talented Mr. Epstein, he didn't start out as a monster. He started as a math teacher. And looking at his early file, it frankly reads like a con artist's handbook.
It really does. We're talking about the mid-1970s. You've got this guy from Brooklyn, Jeffrey Epstein. He has no college degree. He is a nobody.
A complete nobody.
And yet, in 1974, he talks his way into a job teaching calculus and physics at the Dalton School.
Which is, just for context, one of the most elite prep schools in Manhattan. We're talking about a place where the parents are, masters of the universe.
Exactly. He didn't have the credentials, but he had the charm. But the cracks showed up early. The files confirm he was fired in 1976 for poor performance.
Now, usually a fired teacher goes to another school. They don't fail upwards this hard.
Right. Epstein goes to Wall Street.
Immediately.
He pivots straight to Bear Stearns, and this is the first major red flag in the documents. In 1976, failing upwards wasn't just luck for him, it was a strategy. He rose through the ranks there with terrifying speed.
And this is where the math doesn't add up for me.
Yeah.
You have a guy who, on paper, has no specialized financial training. He isn't some quant wizard. What was he actually selling to these clients?
He was selling exclusivity. He was a social engineer, not a financial one. And that brings us to the money source, the key that unlocked everything for him. Les Wexner.
The retail giant. The man behind Victoria's Secret.
The very same. Now, lots of rich people have financial advisors, but the relationship between Wexner and Epstein was unique. The documents highlight that Wexner gave Epstein full power of attorney.
I feel like people hear that phrase and just gloss over it. Can we clarify what that actually means here?
It means absolute control. It means Epstein could sign checks, buy property, move millions of dollars of Wexner's money without asking permission.
It's like giving a stranger the keys to your house, your banking password, and the deed to your car.
Precisely. And that access to capital allowed Epstein to rebrand himself. He stopped being just a money manager and started calling himself a collector.
A collector of art.
He told people he collected geniuses. He surrounded himself with scientists, Nobel laureates. But looking at these 2026 files, it's clear he was collecting something else. Leverage. He was collecting secrets.
And he used that to build a fortress around his own vices. Which leads us into the darkest part of this story, the network.
Because he wasn't acting alone.
No. A predator on this scale needs infrastructure. And the key architect of that infrastructure was Ghislaine Maxwell.
Daughter of the media tycoon Robert Maxwell.
Right. When they teamed up, the dynamic shifted. The source material uses the term pyramid scheme to describe the abuse, and that's a crucial insight. Maxwell was the recruiter.
That's the part that is just so sickening. She would find these girls, often from difficult backgrounds, some as young as 14, and promise them modeling jobs, scholarships.
And once they were in the door, the trap sprung. The massages were the entry point, escalating to assault. But here's the tragedy of the timeline. This wasn't a secret. The files show that victims like Maria Farmer went to the FBI as early as 1996.
1996. That is literally decades before the system finally caught up with him.
Decades. The agency essentially ignored it. And because they ignored it, the network grew. It moved from New York to Palm Beach to the Lolita Express jet and down to Little St. James.
The private island. The new documents have a lot to say about the island. We always heard rumors, but the specifics are chilling.
It confirms the island was wired, cameras everywhere, hidden recording devices in bedrooms, living areas, you name it.
Which suggests this wasn't just about gratification for Epstein.
It suggests it was an operation, a blackmail factory. Think about it. If you invite powerful men to a private island, provide them with illicit entertainment, and film it, you own them. That footage is an insurance policy.
Which brings us to 2008, the moment he did get in trouble and that insurance policy seemed to cash out. The sweetheart deal.
To this day, legal scholars look at that 2008 plea deal and just shake their heads. It is one of the most baffling miscarriages of justice in modern history.
Let's set the scene. It wasn't like they didn't have evidence.
Oh, they had mountains of it. It's 2005. The police in Palm Beach are investigating. The FBI identifies 36 victims. The evidence was overwhelming. He should have been looking at life in federal prison.
But instead, we get this deal negotiated by Alex Acosta, the U.S. attorney at the time.
Epstein pleads guilty to a minor state charge. He gets an 18-month sentence, serves only 13 months. But the conditions, they're infuriating.
This is the work release part, right? Because when I read this, I had to double check I wasn't reading satire.
No, it's real. A registered sex offender was granted work release. He could sleep at the jail, but during the day, he could leave, go to his office, conduct his business, and then check back in at night.
It sounds less like prison and more like a cheap hotel with a strict curfew.
It was treated like a VIP stay. But the most dangerous part of that deal wasn't the sentence. It was the immunity clause.
The files highlight this heavily. It didn't just protect Epstein.
No, it granted immunity to any potential co-conspirator.
Wait. So he essentially bought a get-out-of-jail-free card for everyone in his network.
That's the implication. It shut down the federal investigation. It took the pressure off everyone else. It is the clearest example you will ever see of a two-tiered justice system. One for you and me, and a different one for the wealthy and connected.
And that held for another 10 years. It wasn't until the Miami Herald investigation in 2018 that the heat came back.
Journalism matters. That investigation forced the issue. July 2019, he's arrested on federal trafficking charges. And this time, bail was denied. He was looking at real time.
And then, August 2019, he's found dead in his cell.
The official ruling was suicide by hanging. And look, I want to be responsible here. The DOJ reports, the forensic analysis, they all medically support the suicide conclusion.
However, getting into these 2026 files, the anomalies surrounding that night are staggering.
They're hard to ignore. The negligence was systemic. The guards were sleeping. They falsified the logs. The cameras malfunctioned.
But there's one specific nugget in this new data dump that stopped me cold. The footage.
Yes, the SBI video from the hallway outside his cell. The source explicitly notes that 2 minutes and 53 seconds of footage are either missing or edited.
2 minutes and 53 seconds. In a high-security facility, during the most critical window of time involving the most high-profile prisoner in the world.
It creates a permanent void of trust. Even if you accept the medical evidence for suicide, which the experts do, that missing footage fuels skepticism. It suggests the record was tampered with. It damaged public faith irreparably.
So that brings us to today. The Epstein Files Transparency Act cracks the vault open, January 30th, 2026, and the internet just exploded talking about the client list.
And that is the first myth we really need to bust. There is no single document titled the client list. Epstein didn't keep a guest book.
So what are we actually looking at?
We're looking at thousands of data points, flight logs, emails, diary entries, social diagrams, and yes, the names found in this web are a who's who of the global elite.
And we need to be careful here. The source is very specific. Appearing in these documents implies association. It does not prove a crime. But the names, they're huge.
They are. You have former presidents. Bill Clinton is mentioned regarding 26 flights on Epstein's jet. You have Donald Trump, noted as a close friend until 2004.
And the source mentions that falling out, right? It says Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago.
Correct, because Epstein allegedly hit on a minor at the club. Then you move to royalty Prince Andrew. Tech titans. Bill Gates is listed as an associate. Elon Musk appears in emails about visits.
Which Musk has denied, correct?
He has denied the visits, yes. But the emails about them exist in the dump. And we see other names, like Howard Lutnick, visiting the island in 2015.
What stands out to me isn't just one name. It's the variety. Politics, finance, tech, royalty. It shows how deeply embedded he was.
That is the real takeaway. Epstein wasn't an outcast hiding in the shadows. He was at the center of the web. The presence of a name signifies these people were comfortable being in his orbit. They didn't care what he was, as long as he was useful.
So where does that leave us? Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years. J.P. Morgan settled for $75 million back in 2023. Is that it? Is the book closed?
It's a complicated answer. For the victims, and we are talking about over 1,000 identified victims now, justice is a relative term. The source material talks about the severe PTSD these survivors face. A check helps, but it doesn't erase trauma.
And looking at the diagrams of victim networks in these new files, the scale is just horrifying. It was an industry.
It was, and the internal DOJ emails released alongside them are damning. They prove that the system, the prosecutors, the investigators knew much more than they admitted for years. They knew the scope, the players, and they sat on it.
That's the part that gets me. The timing. We're getting this now in 2026.
Okay.
But the source mentions a feeling that this news is being buried.
Well, look at the geopolitical context. It's a classic media tactic, isn't it? Release the damaging stuff when everyone is looking somewhere else. Some analysts believe the timing is deliberate.
So we have 3 million pages, we have diagrams, we have confirmed negligence, but we still have questions.
We always will. The Epstein enigma isn't just about one man. It's about the infrastructure that allowed him to exist.
Okay, let's unpack the so what here. Why does this matter to someone driving to work right now in 2026? Epstein is dead. Maxwell is in jail. Why keep digging?
Because if we don't understand how the machinery worked, it'll just be built again. This deep dive is a reminder of why we need things like the Transparency Act. We cannot rely on the goodwill of institutions to police themselves. We have to force accountability.
It's about ensuring that a math teacher can't become a monster just because he holds the checkbook for a billionaire.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that wealth often acts as a shield against morality and the law, and we have to constantly, actively dismantle that shield.
And that leads me to a thought that's been nagging me. We have 3 million pages. It sounds like a massive number.
It is a lot.
But the source estimates there are 6 million total pages related to this case. That means we are only seeing half the picture.
That's a chilling thought.
And when you combine that with those missing 2 minutes and 53 seconds from the jail footage, it forces you to ask one last question. With half the documents still hidden and the most critical video erased, what are they still hiding? And more importantly, who are they still protecting?
That is the question that keeps this case open, regardless of any official verdict.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Keep questioning the narrative.
Stay curious.